Did you know that Waffle House is the most dangerous chain restaurant in the entire country? And every Waffle House in the country usually has over 5 911 calls every year. Also, fights commonly break out at every Waffle House. And by the way, this week someone got shot at a Waffle House, and after getting into a fight there, and now he's in the hospital. The person who was shot. So today, I'm down in Florida, and I'm going to be testing a Waffle House. But not any Waffle House. I'll be testing a 1-star rated Waffle House. And writing a review about it at the end. So get your popcorn ready, and let's head to Waffle House. Okay, so before we head over to Waffle House, let me read you some of the reviews about this Waffle House. So first up, Jim K left a 1-star review, and Jim said, "This Waffle House has the worst service I've ever encountered. We waited 5 minutes for coffee and another 5 minutes to have our order taken, and we finally left 16 minutes later, and our order had not even been placed. Any other restaurant in Daytona Beach has to be better. The only reason for 1 star is that there's nothing lower." Wow. Okay. So that is crazy. And if you don't think the review is horrible, then listen to this one. It gets even worse. And by the way, I'm going to the Waffle House in Daytona Beach on Seabreeze Drive. Key B left a 1-star review and said, "Deserves 0 stars. Waffle House on Seabreeze. The people on shift were very rude, clearly didn't do their job correctly, and took a ridiculous amount of time. Not to mention, I got a fingernail in my biscuits and gravy. I don't even want to know what else was in my food. I actually ate there. This is absolutely a health concern, and I feel as if they should have a health inspection ASAP. Disgusted." And then, some Key B then put in at the bottom of her review, she attached some horrible and visually disturbing pictures of her Waffle House food. Take a look at them. And yeah, so first up, I've never even tried a Waffle House before, and now I'm hearing that there might even be fingernails in my food. And I already am not excited for this, and this next review just makes it even worse. Randy L left a 1-star review and said, "This place is the worst in the chain. Been eating at Waffle House for years. If you screw up an order as a cook, don't get mad at the customer and start screaming at them. Then react to the customer by coming around the counter and trying to intimidate the customer. Should have beat the ghetto scum senseless. Threatening a customer, pretty shocked. Only in Daytona." Okay, so first up, Randy really had it with this Waffle House, so I'm definitely not ready or excited for this, but for some reason, I will be risking even potentially eating a fingernail and being intimidated by Waffle House employees for the purpose of this video, so enjoy. And let's head over now to read the allegations to test before we head over to Waffle House. So the allegations we have to test are, will the service be super slow? Will the staff be really rude? Will the staff come over the counter, start screaming at me, and try to intimidate me? Will I be disgusted by this Waffle House? Will there be a fingernail and other unknown substances in my food? Will my order be right? And will the staff threaten me or scream at me, like I said? And will the staff get my order wrong? And will the restaurant be a mess and chaotic? Will I regret coming to this Waffle House? And does the restaurant look sketchy and ghetto? So, let's head over to Waffle House and just enjoy the video. Alright, so as you can see from the sign, we have made it here to Waffle House. Let's go inside, and I'm not excited for this, but let's see how it goes. So I've made it here to Waffle House, and so we got our full house guidelines. And I've never really seen this at a restaurant before, but yeah. So let's head inside. we have some more house rules. Okay, so first up, I see that there is a actually whatever this thing is, jukebox or whatever. And so let's take a look around the restaurant, see how it is, and yeah. So you see, there's a bunch of different songs from the Waffle House. Okay, so guys, so we went inside and I ordered a classic waffle. As you can see, it's like a single waffle. So I'm gonna get that and we'll see how it is. So a couple of observations about the outside of the building now. There's like a what they call a waffle window. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. And I realized maybe this is to prevent fights late at night. It is to go only from 11:30 to 6 a.m. So the floors look pretty clean. Building looks not bad. And yeah, so this place actually looks really clean, and all the reviews about this place being very dirty are busted. Okay, so we made it inside here in the bathroom. So far, let me tell you about everything so far I've seen. So far, while the restaurant is not the cleanest restaurant I've seen, it is a decent amount dirty. I mean, like the bathroom floors are kind of like dirty, but pretty much it's all right. I mean, not the cleanest, not the dirtiest place I've ever been to. And so the thing I did want to mention is, so everybody says, oh, the staff is so rude, and everything. Really, they've been amazing to me. I just ordered; they were welcoming in. They're like, "Oh, welcome," and everything. They were really nice, really positive energy. I went up to them, ordered my waffle, and now I've been waiting about 3-4 minutes for my waffle so far. Let's see how long this will take. It might be slow. We'll have to see. And also, there's a bunch of places to sit, and they all seem pretty clean. Okay, so a couple of things I want to mention. So I went in there, and really it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest place either, but it was not that bad. Pretty crowded. Staff felt welcoming and everything. So all the reviews about staff being like rude and everything, and all the and everything being dirty is all busted. But one thing I did want to mention is I think they close off the lobby and it's to go only from 11:30 to 6 a.m. Really to prevent those late night fights. And now I wanted to show you my receipt. So as you can see here on my receipt, this is kind of crazy. There's a 58-cent service charge and a 58 cents to go fee. So a waffle that was $5.75 ended up ringing up at $6.91, which is a bit of a ripoff for a waffle. So now the staff didn't seem like rude or anything, like I said, and everything seemed all right. I mean, decently clean. So now let's try this waffle and see if it was really worth $6.91. Okay, so this is one of the hottest things I've ever seen. It literally burns my hand when I touch it. And so it came in this nice Waffle House container. And yeah, so here is the waffle in the container, pretty decently sized, and actually looks really good and smells really good. But the real test is the taste test, and we're gonna put some syrup on it and see how it tastes. All right, so it is time. I got a piece out of my waffle, and let's try this Waffle House waffle. $6.91. Was it worth it? Okay, so it is actually pretty good. It does. It's the actual plain waffle, like I just had, is kind of plain. It does have good flavor though. And it has a nice soft texture. It is like I feel like without syrup, it does lack some like extra taste. But in general, it is still a pretty solid waffle. So far, all of the allegations about this Waffle House have been false. Also, one thing, does kind of have like that. If you look into the waffle, it doesn't have as much crunch as a waffle normally does. So it tastes more like a pancake because it's not as crunchy and not as hard as a normal waffle is. So it's more like pancake texture and kind of a pancake taste. So now we're gonna go through all the allegations we were here to test, and I'm either gonna bust them or validate them. So the first one: will the staff be really rude? And that one is busted. The staff were actually really welcoming. Will I be disgusted by this Waffle House? And that one is busted. It was actually, well, it was kind of dirty in some parts. It was alright, but I wasn't disgusted. I've seen worse. Next, will there be a fingernail and other disgusting things in my food? And I am so happy to say that that review is busted and that there was not a fingernail or any unknown substances in my food. And the next one was, will the staff threaten me or scream at me or get my order wrong? And all of those are busted. The staff, like I said, was really welcoming, got my order right and everything, and it was a simple waffle, but still. And will the restaurant be a mess and chaotic? No, it's pretty crowded, but no one's really like making negative interactions with each other. And the next one was, does the restaurant look sketchy? So I did a walk around the outside, and it doesn't look too bad at all. I mean, it's like it's an average restaurant. It does lack in some areas, but in general, it is not bad. And yeah, so let's go back to the house and write my review. Okay, so it's almost time to write my review, and before I write my review, I would like to mention a couple more things. So overall, the Waffle House was pretty average for a restaurant. And while the food was alright, while the waffle was alright, it did kind of taste more like a pancake than a waffle. Didn't have like the waffle crisp kind of, and like the crispy, yeah, like the crispiness of a waffle. That's what it lacked. But still was pretty good. And while some of, in general, sorry, the Waffle House wasn't too bad. Some parts of it, like the bathrooms, were pretty dirty. But most parts of it, for the most part, were pretty all right. And the staff seemed to be pretty good. And also one more thing, I did realize that if you want to eat outside, they kind of expect you to eat inside. Because I had to eat on the curb outside because I wanted to eat outside, and there was no other place to eat outside. So while this Waffle House has a bunch of good things, there's also some things it needs to work on. So now it's time to write my review. Okay, so my review is finally written, and here it is. I left a 3-star review. That's right, 3 stars. This is a very average restaurant, and while it succeeds in some areas, it needs improvement in other areas. Some good things. The staff was not very rude. There was no fingernail in my food, and I'm happy about that one. The service was not slow. An employee didn't come over the counter and try to intimidate me, and I'm also really happy about that one. The waffle tasted decent. I survived this Waffle House. That's my favorite one. And the restaurant wasn't sketchy and ghetto. Some bad things about this Waffle House. I was charged not just a service fee, also a to-go fee. The waffle tasted more like a pancake than a waffle. The restaurant was a little dirty in some areas, like the bathroom. And I tried eating my waffle outside, but there were no tables outside. So overall, like I said, average Waffle House, and I'm just happy I survived. And so that was it, guys. That's what happens when you go to the most dangerous restaurant in the United States, and you go to a 1-star version of that one. Maybe it's different if you go at a different time, but it wasn't that bad. But still, proceed with caution. And thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next.